Hello, BookTube. It's Saturday, and I've got some periodicals and magazines through the week. So I thought I'd try to continue my sort of sand Saturday meander through magazines, and uh, there's a few. Most of them I got very late in the week, so I haven't had much chance to look at them yet. But I'll just show them a few things that I've highlight that I'm quite excited about to read, and then what we'll do is either next Saturday I'll concentrate more on what the articles that I read that I thought would be worth sharing. I think that's probably the way I'll do it, unless there's something so exciting, then I'll do a video specifically for it during the week. We'll see how it goes, really, because I'm sort of trying to figure out how to do this, because I do get items throughout the week, and some of them I'm just starting, so they came sort of very recently, so I don't really, sometimes I don't have a chance to jump right into them, so I'm going to see how this goes, but I'll show what I've received on the Saturday for sure, since the following the previous Saturday, and then any highlights of what I've read regarding that. But as I say, it might just continue on because they're monthly. Some of them are bi-monthly, so I'll slowly go through. And I haven't shown the TLS much for the last couple of weeks because this week's came fairly promptly as normal. The week before came on Saturday, I think, and I didn't really get much chance. This is October 16th. Is that right? Am I looking at the right date here? Yes, the October 16th. Sorry, I lost track of dates here. And this is the one that had the cloth article in, and I saw Steve Donahue mentioned it too. It was a very, very good article. I'm not too sure if I to go into detail about it. I'm sure Steve probably will. He'll do much better than I can regarding it. But it was a long article, and it was very enjoyable. So I was looking forward to that. This week's got a little. I'm not sure what happened there. A bit of staining on it. Yeah, the most interesting one I would say out of here that I've saw so far, because I just got this. I think I got it yesterday. Or did I get it on Thursday? I can't remember now. To be honest, I think I got it Friday yesterday. It was a 6-day week for me working, so I'm a little confused the days a bit here, and with the toothache that I've been having, it hasn't helped. But yeah, the article by DJ Taylor, which I really enjoyed, and he's a biographer. Well, he's a biographer of many, but I enjoy his biography of George Orwell, and I met him. He did a number of sort of interviews and regarding George Orwell at the Oxford Literary Festival, and he had Richard Blair, Orwell's son, adopted son, there, which was really nice to hear, and he was asking questions. But yeah, so that's the TLS that came. That's this week's. The new ones that I've started here. There's this one here. I just took on as a. It's a promotional that it's only a couple or a pound, I think, per issue for a few, and see what it's like. It's the Sky at Night. It's an astronomy magazine, but it's it's from the TV show that every week there's been for I don't know how long, 30 years or more. I think it's it was every week, or it still is every week. But there's some interesting articles in here. The one Life on Venus is interesting because they found, or they think they found a what do they call it here? Is it a they found a rare molecule, phosphine, and they think in the atmosphere of Venus, and it's one of the it's a it's made by, on Earth anyway, by microorganisms that live in an oxygen-free environments. So there's evidence that there could be life on Venus as well. And it just goes through, like I say, I haven't had too much chance. This came, yeah, it was late in the week. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday this came. So it's my first issue. Not sure if I'll continue to keep it because there's a lot of interesting stuff, but it's just like sometimes too much of interest because I I don't know if I got time to read everything. I'll have to settle in and see how this works because I'm getting a flood at the moment. But they are monthly and bi-monthly, so it might actually work out with reading little bits and pieces. So yeah, so it's got a large article there on Venus, and then it talks about galactic clusters of stars with lots of photography, and then there's sort of what you see, a guide, what you see in the night sky here in the UK. That's what it's sort of aimed at mostly, of what you can see in the night sky. So, and I don't have a telescope or anything. I'm in the town here, so, and I'm not going to really see much at all. And I can't get out into the country, so so it might not be, it might in the end might not be the best to do. But there's an article I'm looking forward to reading is this here, the 20 years of the International Space Station. I'm looking forward to reading that. And it says this month marks 2 decades of human occupation on the International Space Station. Nisha Barrage Hoyle looks at the ISS's history and how it's preparing a new generation of space explorers. So that's, I'm looking forward to that. And there's an article on Mars. I'm not sure if it's going to talk about the liquid water they found in a couple underground lakes. So that could be interesting. But yeah, and then there's just other small ones. There's an astro photography gallery. I think it's just. I think there's people that there's people that have posted in or emailed in pictures they've taken with their own equipment, and it's quite amazing actually what you can. And yeah, just all the stuff like that, and they do a lot of advertisement for telescopes and so forth. So it'll be interesting to see. I think this is monthly, and I'm not sure how many. I either have 3 or 6 issues with sort of the introductory offer. So I'll definitely decide on what to get. The new Statesman came yesterday. I haven't got the Spectator yet. That's late. And this one is mostly devoted to COVID-19, political wise, all the way through. And I've been asked regarding the books. Steve Donahue was curious. It's this week, and I think it's pretty well the same. They've got a section. It's called what's it called? The Critics here. Let me find the first page of it. Yeah, it's called The Critics, and it's basically art, books, music, film, television, radio. The Critics. And there's 2 books here that they highlight. There's it's called The Gambler by Tom Bauer, W.H. Allen, 592 pages, 20 pounds. It's Tom Bauer paints Boris Johnson as a victim, but this less than candid biography reveals more about its author than it does the Prime Minister. So that's kind of interesting. And then there's Hilary Mantel Pieces, Fourth Estate, 352 pages, 16 pounds 99. The Art of Character Assassination. Hilary Mantel's critical voice is superior, unkind, and deeply enjoyable. and it's reviewed by Helen Lewis. And they're about the same. They're sort of 2 pages ish, and then it goes into and sometimes they will review a book, an older book. This is like 50 years of feminist revolution. Then they go into this is not sure if this, well, it's about a painter, so yeah, here's the art, but a painter in the Lake District. Akseli Galen Kalali depicted one of Finland's main or many lakes. Oh, it's Finland. Okay, so I haven't had a chance to look at it fully. And then there's an article about Hermione Lee, known for her landmark biographies of writers such as Virginia Woolf and Edith Wharton, and now she has taken on the first living subject, Tom Stoppard. So it's not quite a book review in a sense. It's an interview, but talking about the book. And then there's stuff about film, and there's an article here, 1-page article about 2 films, one by David Attenborough and the other by Greta Thunberg, and sort of comparing both films, documentaries, and both characters. So, and then they've got a little bit about TV. They don't deal with, or they deal with radio. Didn't think this. No, it's just a podcast on Spotify. I'll have to look at that. Because I didn't think they actually did with radio, but they do. They do a little bit about film, the BBC, the TV, and yeah, and then the back, like the whole setup is like the back pages are little bits and pieces of things. It's about the countryside. Just think about money woes during COVID, and it's about social media, health matters, and so forth. But it's very, very full. Like it's a every article at the beginning pretty well is COVID and sort of politics wise. So I don't know if I'll be reading as much in this one as I did the other one. So this is sort of a little more disappointing because it just I get a little too angry by reading these. It's not that I don't get depressed by it. I just get angry by reading stuff like this. It doesn't tell me really too much more than I suspect or know. So, but anyway, and then also too that I have paid for a full year of subscriptions on these 2. It's Current Archaeology, which is British, and then there's Current World Archaeology. They're actually 2 different sizes. And this just came too. They both came together very quickly this week. This one, the cover story is the Havering Hoard, a Bronze Age melting pot that was found in the Docklands in London. And it's the largest Bronze Age hoard in London, and I think the 3rd largest found in the UK. And it's about 3,000 years old. And it's 453 bronze and copper objects and fragments. Yeah, it's the largest Bronze Age hoard to be found in London, and the 3rd largest known in the whole United Kingdom. This is only a selection of the contents, and the story its story is now being told at the Museum of London Docklands, and there's a photograph of part of the hoard. And it's quite a substantial one, talking about the Bronze Age settlement there as well, and how it's on display now, and so that's interesting. And this one looks pretty interesting as well. This is one I haven't read. Rest in Pieces: Exploring Evidence for Bronze Age Curation of the Dead. Archaeologists have long puzzled over fragments of human bone that have been found scattered around late Bronze Age settlements and placed in early Bronze Age burials like grave goods. Carly Hiltz examines a recent study that sheds intriguing light on these enigmatic practices. And I think it's because after burial, like there's little keepsakes, I think, and then they get passed on as well. And I think that's where it's headed with that. So it looks quite interesting, um, and it's quite a substantial articles. These are they go on page after page. That one there is it's about. Uh, Oh no, it's a different article, but it doesn't really give a title. Oh, Okay, there it is. Yeah, I thought it was advertising a book. Landscape plotted in piece examining early medieval planned settlements. So that'll be another good one. That'll be interesting to read. Um, there's an advertisement for another one. Another magazine I'd love to have is Minerva. It says showcases the beauty and sophistication of ancient civilizations with spectacular illustrations and exciting features. Each issue will give you an inside view of the archaeology, culture, and art of the ancient world. It's something I'd like to get as well. It's not too expensive. It's bi-monthly and it's $28.50 by direct debit. Very tempting. And there's a couple articles here which are quite interesting. It's about the eco-archaeology and the echoes of the Blitz of London. And I'm looking forward to reading these because I think it's what's sort of left from an archaeological point of view from the Blitz. And then there's an article about what's remembered in the museums throughout the UK, exhibits and so forth, and artifacts that are kept there. So that's interesting. I do like where archaeology is brought in a historical context. A lot of historians seem to be scared of archaeology for some reason. They just want to deal with the documents, the printed record. However, the archaeology done in a historical setting can tell a bit of different story from what the documents say, even for people that were at that location at the time. So it's useful to look at both, but sadly, it's hard to get some historians to actually look at archaeology. This is a very interesting article here. It's called Lost and Found, an Egyptian Urn from Roman Scotland. And it's a burial urn, but it's an actual Egyptian urn, but it was used and buried in Scotland during the Roman times 2,000 years ago. So it somehow made its way over from Egypt and was used, and it wouldn't. And they postulate that it wouldn't have been a sort of just a regular soldier. It must have been sort of a leader, a general, or something like that, but they don't know exactly. It was found by a navvy building a railway in 1849, and it was sort of it's just a footnote, and it was just stuck in a museum, and now it's on display in Scotland, and it just goes to show that even though artifacts are excavated, reported on, and boxed up in archives and in the back rooms of museums, there is still a lot of things that can be learned from them, and things like this that were sort of more or less missed or dismissed at the time. And it could tell a greater story if they're looked at. There is so much in the British Museum with regards to cuneiform tablets. A lot of times those were just cataloged based on the few first words that they translated and they haven't been translated. And I know on few occasions that the first few words are very deceptive and the actual contents is much, much different. So basically there are archaeologists now, there's some that don't go out and excavate so much. They excavate the warehouses, the archives of museums, and where the artifacts are kept, and they re-examine things, which is always good. It's like in the archaeology world, I guess it's like a historian re-examining, an event in the past and rewriting history and potentially changing the views that are long held of that event or period or person with regards to biography. So that's a good one. And like I said, I read a couple things, but I do want to read more. Um, and there's also book reviews in here as well. There's one on the Staffordshire Hoard, an Anglo-Saxon treasure. Um, it's put out by the Society of Antiquaries of London. It's £45. It's called, yes, it's by Chris Fenn, Tanya Dixon, and Leslie Webster, editors. And there's a page and a half of that. And yeah, there's about 6 books reviewed here, all obviously archaeological in orientation. Um, yeah, and then there's more here. Like I've subscribed to a magazine called Ancient History that's quite good. I've paid a year's subscription for it, but the Minerva magazine is really calling me as well, and I think they put this out as well as part of this, as well as Military History Matters. But I think I got to hold back somewhere, but basically I wanted to get ones that I knew I'd want, and then test some of the ones with the special offers, introductory offers, and see what they're like. I think I'm gonna miss getting the Spectator and the New Statesman because those will be too expensive for me to keep, I think. But I will miss those after. I think I got 12 weeks for £12. And I've started the New Scientist as well, which that's one I really would like to get, but I think it's like £50 every 3 months, which makes it very expensive. But anyway, getting back to archaeology, this is world archaeology, current world archaeology. And there's some fantastic articles, and there's some here I can't wait to read. This is more world orientated, just things all over the world, literally. There's one here is the news from around the mining for ochre in ancient Mexico, underwater Australia. This one here, yeah, this is a hilltop in Albania. It's Aphrodite at Mantia, so it's a little out of the way, but classical archaeology. This one looks good. I can't wait to read this one. Secrets of Saqqara, almost 45 years excavating an Egyptian necropolis. For over 3 millennia, Saqqara served as a necropolis where pharaohs and the elite could be entombed in extravagant monuments. Christian Greco and Laura Weiss reveal how a chance detail on a 19th century map in a train on a 19th century map in train to Longstand. This is the summary. Let me start this again because I'm missing something here. Christian Greco and Laura Weiss reveal how a chance detail on a 19th century map set in train a long-standing archaeological expedition, which is providing a fresh appreciation of how ancient Egyptians interacted with their past. Little odd wording there, but I think it's like sort of set in motion a long-standing archaeological expedition. Why didn't they just say that? Archaeologists sometimes have to make things a little difficult. So that's quite long. It's many pages, and this one looks really good. It's Finding Blackbeard's flagship, Pirates and Slaves on Queen Anne's Revenge. What was life on a pirate ship really like? The discovery and excavation of Queen Anne's Revenge presents a unique picture of how an infamous captain operated as Mark U. Wild Ramsing and Linda F. Carnes and McNaughton and Matthew Simmons. They're the writers, I guess. Again, it's not very well. Anyway, I hope the articles are a little better. Otherwise, I'm going to be very disappointed in this magazine. But that looks very interesting. Like each of those could very well turn into a little, or maybe next Saturdays, and maybe every so often I'll highlight an article and go through it. I think that could be kind of interesting. And here's another one. It's surveying a forgotten Second World War fortress. So again, we're getting into historical archaeology and comparing to and this is Kolam Bangara. It looks like it's New Georgia Sound. Japanese. It's Japanese tunnels. So the Pacific area, and again, it's many pages long. So, and then there's Julius Caesar's battle for Gaul. New archaeological perspectives. The Gallic War is one of the most famous ancient conflicts and raged across northwest Europe for almost a decade. Andrew Fitzpatrick explores the archaeology of those dramatic events and their aftermath. See, that was a little better. That made sense. Um, yeah. The travel section here, it looks like. Traveling to archaeological sites. Yeah, there's several here on travel, and then there's national. It looks like a highlight of National Archaeology Museum in Madrid. And this, yeah, they got books reviewed in here. This one sounds very interesting. It's Life and Death of Ancient Cities and Natural History. Uh, and it's not about the cultural people archaeology, it's the natural aspect of cities, which looks quite interesting. That looks like it could be an interesting read, an interesting slant on it. And then it goes into other books as well. So, yeah. There is current archaeology and current world archaeology. Some new ones that I've started here, which I hope I'll continue to have and continue to subscribe to. But yeah, that's it. I again made it 30 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I think the plan will be show you what I've got for the previous week, and then hopefully I'll be able to concentrate maybe on one or two articles that I think are quite interesting, and they may be from that week mailings or the previous week. We'll see how it goes, because as I say, if this is from Sunday to Friday of what I'm receiving, or Monday to Friday when I'm receiving the previous week, and I receive something on Friday, Thursday or Friday, I'm not going to have much chance to actually look at it. So it'll have to wait to the following week. If anybody still wants to see something like this, do sound out in the comments, and thank everybody for subscribing. And I've got my Q&A to answer tomorrow on Sunday. And I hope everybody's doing well and having a good weekend reading. Take care, BookTube.